Here's another video I'm making of our recent trip to Las Vegas, Nevada. There are always so many things to do in Las Vegas, we could never do everything, so you usually have to pick and choose. So one thing we wanted to do this time was we went to the Shops at Crystals, which is right near the area, and we wanted to see the Princess Diana exhibit. I heard it had a lot of her dresses, and we just wanted to see it. It was only $32 to go to it, so I thought it would be worth it no matter what. Now, right next door to the exhibit, they had the Vincent van Gogh and the Disney Mickey Mouse exhibit. I think it was like a film. We didn't actually go to this, but it had a big gift shop with a lot of mannequins with really cool outfits, probably depicting some of his paintings and then what was in the film we didn't get to see. So I think next time we go here, we will definitely see this and experience it. Now, the best I understand, it's some type of immersive experience with Disney cartoons and Vincent van Gogh paintings, but their advertising said over 6 million people have seen it so far, so it must be pretty good. So that's definitely on our bucket list for next trip. But for this trip, we're going to see the Princess Diana exhibit right next door. So here's the entrance of the exhibit. So they had some big murals of Princess Diana we took pictures of right before we went in. And right when you walked into the exhibit, the first thing you saw were these dolls. And then it showed a lot about her younger life, her childhood, a lot of pictures, and a couple artifacts in there. But you could also rent a headphone and radio set where they would tell you everything about the exhibit, but it was an additional fee, so we didn't do that because most everything's written on the wall and you can just walk through and read it on your own. Now, we really didn't do our homework before we went to this exhibit. I thought this was strictly all her clothing. That's kind of what they advertised, a lot of her dresses. But there was a lot in here about her relationship with Prince Charles, then Prince Charles himself, and then the royal family and her kids. It wasn't just about her. It was about her whole life and all the people in her life. I did like this quote on the wall from Prince Charles. It said, "You do realize that one day you'll be queen." And she responded, "I'd like to be the queen of people's hearts." And she was. Now, they had a replica of her wedding dress. This was not the actual dress, but this was made from a famous designer that made it out of paper. This entire dress is made from paper. And I thought the coolest thing about it was the way they displayed the train, because we all remember how long her train was, but it was in acrylic, like right over the floor. You couldn't stand on it or anything, but I thought that was pretty cool. They had a couple more outfits there. Now, I can't remember if those were original or those were made of paper. And then they had her doll with that super long train. That was pretty cool. They had a lot of cool things to see. They had a lot of memorabilia, a lot of souvenirs people would buy with Princess Diana and Prince Charles on them that were pretty cool. This was a picture of her wedding party. And then they had these porcelain figures that were some of the royal brides that I thought were really cool. Now, I'm not really sure if these were one-of-a-kind pieces or these were available to the public to purchase. I would guess they were available to the public to purchase because there's a whole series of them. They were all labeled really nicely and they were spread far apart so you could enjoy each one. But I just kind of filmed them real quick so I could kind of remember what they looked like. And there was just so much information in here, and we didn't have the headset because we were kind of rushed. We had another event to go to, so we only had about 30 or 45 minutes to go through the whole place. But I think you could really go through it for a couple hours if you really read everything, because it had all the information and all the details under every picture, every artifact, every doll. So it was pretty interesting, and if you're a Princess Diana fan, it's probably a must to see. Now, there was also a room dedicated to her kids, Prince William and Prince Harry. It had all kinds of pictures of them. It had all the tabloids and People magazines of them. They were just covered their whole entire life. So it was pretty cool how they displayed all the People magazines. People magazine just covered so much of her life from when her kids were born all the way until her death. Now here's Ray checking out their replica of an English payphone. Now they had more artifacts, different dishes and silverware and prints, and you can go there and read up on all of those. Actually, like I said, we did not because we were in a hurry and we kind of had to whiz through it real fast because I knew there were dresses in there, and that's really what I wanted to see, were the dresses. Now this wall was cool. I did film it. It's a whole series of her Christmas cards that she would send out to people, from the birth of her first son all the way until they were older, and they were pretty cool. If I go back to Vegas, I might go through this exhibit again and take more time to enjoy it and read it. I don't know if this was one person's personal collection they turned into a museum, or if several people donated items to make this exhibit a reality. I thought this picture was pretty cool. It says, "Diana confronts Camilla. She always said her marriage was too crowded, that there were 3 people in that marriage." And they even put that quote on the wall. Now finally, when we get to this next room, we see our first dress that she wore. Now it had a picture of her wearing the dress, and this was the actual dress. They had a bust of Diana that someone had made. I think a celebrity or famous sculptor made that. I really should have taken notes. Now this room had some of the royal family artifacts in it. I think there was a nightgown, and then like this one, it is labeled what it is. You can pause the video and read all that if you want to. And then also they had on one of the walls the Queen Mother's handbag. And I don't know why I thought that was so interesting. I mean, you see these old handbags at garage sales and estate sales all the time, but because it belonged to the Queen Mother, it was pretty cool. And then here's some pictures and keepsakes from Queen Elizabeth. Then over here on the right hand side, they had some of Grace Kelly's clothing. One thing I really did enjoy about this exhibit was it had so much space. And I guess I'm a little bit jealous of that because I own a toy museum and mine is so crowded, it's so full of stuff. But everything was spaced out so nicely in this museum. You could really enjoy each single piece. Now that jacket was actually a funeral jacket. Now right behind that, they did have a big replica of the gate where a lot of people put flowers when Princess Diana passed away just to show their love and admiration. Now on this wall, they had a lot of commemorative plates and stamps and newspaper headlines because the whole world was shocked when this happened to Princess Diana. I actually remember where I was when I heard the news. I was at a friend's house eating a McDonald's chicken sandwich because we were just shocked to hear it. Just no one expected it. And then they did have a picture of the family, the boys walking behind the funeral procession. And then here's a better photo of the replica of the gate where they had put flowers in front of it. Now these were pretty cool. I didn't know what they were when I first filmed them, but they're bottles with Princess Diana's pictures, and the artist painted it from inside out. He put a little bitty brush inside those bottles and painted these pictures backwards, which just makes them so impressive. And then we finally got to the part I had been wanting to see, some of her dresses. Now they had this digital marquee that would flash different pictures of her in the dresses that they had, but they didn't really have that many dresses. I think it was less than 10, I know that, but I'm sure they were super hard to obtain and very expensive. So I'll just let you enjoy this part of the video and see the dresses up close. also had this cool digital screen where you could stand there and hold Princess Diana, and they would email you the picture where it looks like you're holding her hand. Here's one of the auction tags from one of the dresses they bought at the auction, and then here's the receipt at how much some of these dresses sold for at the auction. And they had a couple other pieces of hats and some jewelry. And then they had this famous sweater in a display case. And they actually made reproductions of this sweater they were selling at the gift shop. Now this part of the exhibit was really cool. It was called 79 Dresses. And Princess Diana decided to auction off 79 of her dresses at Christie's auction about 2 months before she passed away and raised over $5 million. But the coolest thing they had here was they had every dress that sold in a miniature version. Now it was a little bit bigger than a Barbie size dress. It was more like the size for like a 16-inch doll, but they were so detailed, and I was so surprised they were not under glass. You could actually touch it if you wanted to, but you'd probably be escorted out of there because it says do not touch. But they were not covered at all. They were just wide open, and they were so cool to see. It was almost worth spending the $32 just to see this room. Now those life-size dresses we saw in the other room, I think there were 6 of those in the giant acrylic cases, the display cases. They also had the miniature version here. So those dresses obviously were bought at the auction. Now all the dresses were beautiful, but when you got through this main display part, if you look right behind you, they had a gold wall with like the cream and the white colored dresses. Maybe they did that so they would pop out more, or maybe these were special iconic dresses, but they had these over in a special section away from the other ones. So here's one better look of that gold wall that was so impressive. And then I was going to do one final walkthrough just right when you walk through that room with all 79 of those dresses. It's just so impressive. Maybe it's just impressive to me because I own a toy museum. I would kill to have all this space they have for my toy museum. Now, when you walked in the next room, they had one of her business suits with her purse. That was really nice. And then you walked in one more room, and it said more about the new royalty, Prince William and Prince Harry. It had some of Princess Kate's outfits. It had one of her evening gowns, this gold one, and then it had some more memorabilia about them. And then they also had a second dress of hers there, which was a maroon or burgundy dress on display. So this was pretty much the end of the exhibit. Right when you went to the last room, they have a giant, beautiful painting of Princess Diana, and they had a green screen where you could take some pictures if you wanted to purchase. So we had a great time at the Princess Diana exhibit. I wish we'd have had a little more time to stay there. So if you plan to go there, give yourself about 2 hours. Hope you enjoyed the video. You guys have a great week.